It was the sentence condemned around the world as a slap on the wrist for a privileged white sexual offender at an elite university. In 2016, Judge Aaron Persky gave 18-year-old Stanford freshman and swimmer Brock Turner 6 months in jail for sexually assaulting a woman who had passed out behind a dumpster near a campus frat party.
I think what's really bothers me is here's a young man, the defendant in this case, who has all the advantages from married parents, good family, middle to upper middle class, smart, athletic, all the advantages. White, sure. And what does he do with all the advantages? He takes advantage of someone.
A former Stanford swimmer convicted of 3 felonies after attacking an unconscious young woman. But it was his 6-month sentence that provoked national outrage.
From my way of thinking, when you have someone with all these advantages, that's not mitigating. That's not a mitigating factor. Like, oh, you came from a good family. Oh, you're white. Oh, you've got money. Oh, you're smart. Those aren't mitigating factors to then say, we're going to give you a really lenient sentence. To me, that's the opposite. You got no excuse. You're not from, your parents aren't drug addicts or in jail or prison. Your father you didn't grow up watching your father beat your mother, so you have a wrong idea about how women should be treated. You don't have any of those excuses. So those, to me, aren't mitigators. Those are really aggravators.
But instead of 14 years, a judge has ruled Turner will only spend 6 months in jail, eligible for parole in 3 months, citing the defendant's age and lack of criminal record at sentencing.
One thing that kind of personality characteristic that prosecutors have is, I don't like people cutting in line. I don't like people getting an unfair advantage. I want everyone to be treated fairly. White, black, Hispanic, rich, poor, whatever. So I thought the defendant in that case was not treated fairly, because treating him fairly would have been sending him to prison.
But there was no other way to convey the unbelievable impact than to share her words exactly as she wrote them. I wanted to take off my body like a jacket and leave it at the hospital with everything else. On that morning, all that I was told was that I had been found behind a dumpster. The Clara County District Attorney joins me now from Mountain View, California for this exclusive interview. Thank you so much for being with me tonight.
The victim in this case has a name. Her words have been heard worldwide. And because of the conviction in this case, we've had a whole national conversation about sexual assault on college campuses.
And I think that the victim in that case was also not treated fairly, because what's so ironic is, as eloquent as her letter was, as eloquently as she spoke in court, and now she's been heard by millions of people all over the world, I just kind of feel like the one person that didn't hear her was the judge.
California Judge Aaron Persky is speaking out only to CBS this morning, 1 week before voters decide if he should be removed over his handling of a sexual assault trial.
1 million people signed an online petition calling for Persky's removal from the bench. The recall campaign has raised more than $1 million.
I'm not in favor of him being recalled, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I think it's important for judges to be independent. I think that's important for judges to try to make decisions and have judicial independence. I think that's an important value. I think that there are many other judges on our bench that would have also sent this defendant to jail and given him probation. In other words, I think a lot of our judges would have done the same thing as what this judge did. So to me, that's why I don't think that we need a different judge. I think we need a different law so that the judges will understand that our community thinks it's very serious when an unconscious woman is sexually assaulted.
Joined by Assembly members Evan Lowe, Bill Dodd, and Senator Jerry Hill, and a growing number of legislators, we are hoping to change hearts, to change minds, and to change the law to protect the next Emily Doe against the next Brock Turner.
The legislation that I proposed is basically to make the punishment the same. So whether you rape or sexually assault a conscious person or an unconscious person, it's the same penalty. And so judges would still have discretion, but it would be how many years in prison. It would be 3 years, 6 years, or 8 years in prison. So there would still be an opportunity for judges to exercise discretion, but judges would know that the community understands these are very serious crimes.
And just this Monday, the California State Assembly passing a bill inspired by Turner's sentence to impose harsher penalties for similar assaults.
He could have easily just said, well, I'm just going to enforce the law and allow the judge to do what the judge will do. But rather he said, I'm going to work within the system and I'm going to work to change the system. That's Jeff Rosen.